Given all the demand you just outlined for Bitcoin that you see, and then your target for end of year, what do you think is most likely in terms of the way it gets there, right? Are we going to see these omega candles where Bitcoin goes from 100 to 125 overnight?
Yes.
Crypto expert Matt Hogan and CIO of $12 billion assets under management firm Bitwise is now on record on why the Bitcoin price has been trading just above $100,000 per coin for months, and what will finally break us through.
The actual answer on Bitcoin is the price of Bitcoin is set by supply and demand.
Also, how to calculate the Bitcoin price to determine where price may be by end of year. Watch today's whole video, as I'll also share with you the latest altcoin news, because you subscribe to Altcoin Daily for an edge investing in crypto with one video per day, keeping you informed. And again, why is Bitcoin price not moving? Or, I mean, it's moving, but it's been around $100,000 per coin for months. Everybody says it's going much higher, but when and how big?
Right, are we going to see these omega candles where Bitcoin goes from 100 to 125 overnight?
Yes.
Or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think they're air gaps because I do think the selling is behaviorally driven. I think that's the only rational explanation for why it's essentially treaded sideways and then ripped and treaded sideways, 72K and 100K. So I think it's behaviorally driven. What that means to me is once it releases its tether, which is an unfortunate word in crypto, once it releases its connection to 100K and it gets above that gravity, I do think it probably rips up to like 125K. So I think it's going to be a punctuated equilibrium of fast moves and sideways movements as it sort of burns through these behavioral reserves.
And we know the exact supply of new Bitcoin coming into existence this year. It is exactly this number.
The Bitcoin network will produce about 164,000 Bitcoin this year. That's all of the supply. That's all it will produce. It doesn't matter if we want more. It's a math-based system. We're going to produce 164,000 Bitcoin.
So really, because anything, the price of anything is based on supply and demand, and Bitcoin is the only commodity on Earth that the supply is mathematically set to determine in which direction is Bitcoin's next move, as well as how high, if the move is upward, how high can Bitcoin go? It really just comes down to demand, and if more coins than this will be bought.
So far, on a year-to-date basis, through March 6th, this is what's happened. There's been 57,000 new Bitcoin produced. ETFs have bought all of it, and then corporations have bought another 3x. And I think governments have bought about 40,000 Bitcoin as well. So what does that mean for price? Price rules everything is exactly right, and we heard that in the last presentation. Here's a chart of Bitcoin's price since the ETFs launched in January 2024. And I think it tells you everything you need to know about what's happening in this market. I just made the case that there is a structural mismatch between the demand and supply. New sources of demand are buying more than 100% of the supply. And what that means is existing people who already own Bitcoin have to sell it. And they're only willing to sell it at certain prices. So what have we seen? As soon as the ETF launched, the price ran up from 45K to 72K. And then it traded sideways for about 6 months. Why did it stop at 72K? Because 72K was the previous all-time high. And people are people, and there were people who were willing to sell at the previous all-time high. So remember, people have to sell because there is incessant demand from ETFs, corporations, and governments. So it hovered around 72K while people were willing to sell at that all-time high. And then it broke. And look what happened when it broke above 72K. It ran straight to 100. Why did it run to 100 and then stop there? Why is it $103,000 today? Because people are people, and $100,000 is a nice round number. And there are people who are willing to sell at $100,000. When we look underneath the surface and we look at the source of that selling, there are two sources. One is retail investors who have been willing to sell at $100,000 because it's a nice round number. And the second is a few estates, Mt. Gox and FTX, which released about 100,000 Bitcoin, and that now no longer exists. My thesis, and I could be wrong, is that as long as we have this incessant demand from ETFs, companies, and governments that are buying more than 100% of the supply, we will eventually exhaust the people who are willing to sell at $100,000. And when we do, I would ask you where it stops. I don't know where it stops. Our prediction at Bitwise is it ends the year at 200,000. That could be wrong, but 200,000 is the next nice round number. And I do think Bitcoin really is as simple as this.
And big news for Bitcoin. Bitcoin DeFi project Elastos debuts BTC-backed stablecoin BTCD. So obviously with this new regulation from the United States, stablecoins are and will continue to be massive. Elastos is debuting the world's first Bitcoin-backed stablecoin. By the way, they're a long-term partner of the channel. I actually did an interview with their founder about 5 months ago, how Elastos is building the new internet on Bitcoin, link down below. But with this stablecoin backed by Bitcoin, the news today is this. BTCD is backed by Bitcoin. Some may say that's counterintuitive since Bitcoin is so volatile. Yet Elastos deals with this through over-collateralization of 160 to 200% of BTCD's value in Bitcoin. So it is over-collateralized for safety, and in a direct quote from Elastos on how it works, oracles feed the BTC USD rate each block, and if the cover falls to 110%, arbitrage may repay the debt, grab the BTC at a small discount, and erase the risk. Or on the other side, when BTCD trades above $1, holders burn it to reclaim BTC, supply falls and the price slides. If it dips below $1, users mint it with fresh BTC and sell, supply rises, price lifts. This is all, of course, done through smart contracts, autonomously. And the reason why this is so cool to me is because this is the world's first stablecoin backed by Bitcoin. For more information, for the details for how this is powered by Elastos, link down below. And big news for Cardano. Just in, Ford Motor Company explores Cardano for a legal data storage and advisory role. How many of you Cardano holders will drive Ford after this? To be fair, this is just a test right now, as Iagon and Cloud Court have unveiled a proof of concept that will test Cardano's suitability for enterprise-grade legal data management, with Ford Motor Company participating as an advisor, meaning Ford is watching and taking note. And in a recent blog post, Iagon called the initiative a groundbreaking proof of concept that explores the use of decentralized cloud storage for secure, scalable legal data management, adding that Ford's presence represents a major step forward, not only for the legal industry, but for the Cardano ecosystem as a whole. I'll keep you updated on this. And quick piece of news for Internet Computer. ICP, Internet Computer, beats ETH and ADA to claim the top spot in key metric. The chart they're referencing is this, like right here. Here are crypto's top overall coins by notable development activity in the past 30 days. We see Internet Computer at the top, followed by Chainlink, and Starknet, Cardano, Polkadot, etc. SWI, number 9. So this shows development activity, aka the building. And what's interesting to me, while SWI and Ethereum, they were up so much in the last few months. It makes sense. They took a couple notches down. It's ICP, Chainlink, and then Starknet and Cardano and Polkadot are the top 5. And really, ICP in developer activity in the last 30 days, much, much, much higher, double pretty much of what's in number 3, and then much higher than Chainlink. And as we head into this new regime of crypto, which to me is institutionally and government-driven, I'm speaking about demand, institutions and governments are driving demand, as opposed to the first 15 years of crypto's existence, retail drove it. Now it's institutions, now it's governments. I would look for projects that either institutions will like, I'm talking DeFi, I'm talking the blue chips, projects like Aave or stablecoins. To me, that's why Ethereum, Solana, and Tron are not done. Also Elastos with the very first Bitcoin-backed stablecoin. It's huge. Innovation is happening. I still think 95% of these thousands and thousands of coins will fail, but the ones with true product market fit Hitting a niche, hitting a trend will do well in my opinion. Click subscribe to Altcoin Daily for daily videos keeping you informed, and like always, see you tomorrow.